You think he heard you?
Oh, absolutely, he heard me. Because ever since then, ever since then, I don't think he's worked the same nights.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Bros 5 Feet Apart podcast. I am Renee.
I'm Casper.
Here we are joined by a special guest today, Florence. We're joined by Florence.
Hello.
Florence, you have a history of working. Florence is known as someone we know.
Thank you. Indeed.
You have a history of working.
And this is someone we know. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do that much research before coming in.
Hold on. You've known Florence for how long?
I don't know what is okay with sharing online and what's not okay with sharing online.
Can you go ahead and give the audience your address?
Can you send cute pictures of your credit card?
Anyways, so what do you want to tell the internet about yourself?
About myself?
Besides that, we know you personally. Something that you're comfortable with.
What is this, like a back to school?
No.
Tell me one thing about yourself.
I mean, if you wanted to make it that,
I don't know.
want it to
What
be
do
that
you-
way.
Can we play two truths and a lie?
Yeah.
Okay, give us two truths and a lie, and we're gonna decide which.
No, I don't like that game. It's too much to
I
think
also
about.
don't like that game.
This is my formal recognition from the podcast. I'm putting my 2 weeks in.
Stuff.
2 weeks in.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, so talking about 2 weeks.
Perfect segue to our topic for this week is about work related, the workforce, not just this podcast, but manual labor, sitting at an office job, or child labor.
I have a question for you guys. And our
that's the
viewers.
first.
Do you think that filing your 2 weeks is important, or do you think it doesn't matter?
I think it's respectable, because it gives them like an idea, like, oh, they're gonna lose an employee soon, so they can start looking for other ones. However, I don't think that you need to do it, because I feel like it's not any of their concern. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I also feel like a lot of times, from what I've heard online and just my most recent job that I quit, most of the times they're not even going to look for someone. Even if you put in your 2 weeks, they're not going to look for someone in those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's mostly just whoever comes to them first. It's not like an ongoing looking out for someone. It's just, we'll put out something to show that we're hiring, and we'll see if anyone's interested. You know, the way people make it seems like, oh, they're on the lookout for something. They make it sound more important than it really is. Like, they probably don't care. They're probably like, oh, we've been through this many times before. We already have a plan. So you could just quit on the spot, even though it might be quote unquote unprofessional, but they'll have a plan if that were to happen.
But also, if you do just quit on the spot, you may want to find other references for when applying to different jobs, because then if you put them as a reference, they're gonna be like, well, when they quit,
That's a good point.
they just would have dipped. You know. How many jobs have y'all worked in your life?
Well, I did a lot of babysitting when I was younger.
Gross.
I know. I will never again. I don't like babysitting.
I famously hate kids.
Kids are cute until you have to. I was
Yeah.
just talking about this. Kids and animals are cute until you have to take care of them.
Oh, when they're not yours and they can like come over, hang out, and then go home.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
When their home is also your home, that's the problem.
Yeah. But I've done a lot of babysitting. I did that as I was kind of like a nanny for my sister a few times, for someone who I went to church with. And then I also did a paid internship for a musical theater job at MCC, which was really fun. And then after that, I just worked two other jobs. On my second job after that,
I just worked. I worked 3 jobs. I worked 3 jobs. One was an internship. Another one was fast food, and another one was taking care of dogs, quote unquote, taking care of dogs. Not for most of the time. I hated working in fast food. Fast food sucked. Advice to anyone listening to this: if you're getting your first job, do not go into fast food. Do not. Even if it's your second job, just don't work in fast food. There's a reason why there's a low shortage of workers in fast food.
Unless you want to, but
I mean,
also retail. Retail was my last job, and customers aren't really worth it.
Was it, for both of you, was it like just the customers, or was there other reasons as to why, like, you personally say don't go to fast food?
For me, it was definitely customers. I wasn't working with customers for like the first year, and I worked there for 2 years. But it was also kind of the just kind of the work environment. Like it was so fast paced, and like I don't know, companies don't really care about the employees. I mean, obviously you're going to be working with whoever, and you might have some like friendships in your job, but also just kind of like they would throw you into stuff without training you, or stuff like that.
Sorry, I just got war flashbacks. I hate when jobs just sort of push you in with like no training, basically. I had a job once.
how many jobs do you have?
I've had 2. I've had 2 jobs. I'm not gonna say which job it was, but
give like a very vague detail of what you do.
what I currently do.
What you're currently doing, or your past job is.
Well, my current job, I know you're asking for the audience, like, because you already know. But I worked with dogs. I did the same job as Renee. And my last job, I was a merchandiser. I was a vendor for stores. It's a horrendous job. I'm allowed to say that on the podcast. I quit.
You're just not mentioning it by name.
I won't mention the company. I'm not trying to get lawsuits. But you know who you are. We're bringing that back this episode.
Yeah, I'd say going back to your question of why I didn't like it, it was mostly just because the customers. I hated it. I mean, I hardly talked to anyone at work, which wasn't a big problem because it was busy most of the time, which I did really like being busy. And the moments there was downtime, I was like, I guess I was so used to it being busy, I was sort of just anxious of finding things to do. Everyone's just usually kicking back, talking to each other while I'm walking around finding things to keep myself busy. I don't know, but I hated it. I hated working at the fast food job. I did. Yeah, they don't get enough credit how much crap they go through. Especially management. They've been there for more than a year. So there's a reason why they got that position. I also heard through management that if you're training to become a trainer at this one personal place, let's call it bare routine. I'll call it bare routine. They legit told their assistant manager, who's trained to be a manager, that you have to devote your life to this company if you want to be a manager, and you have to really put in all your effort and life basically into it. So it sounded terrible.
I was gonna say hell nah, but also that's kind of true. Like, I just looking at how the managers at my old job were, like the district manager or general manager, they put like a lot of effort into it.
To tell someone that they have to put their entire life into a fast food job, which if you work fast food, there's no shame in it. Get your money. Don't let anyone tell you differently. But that job is not your whole life. No job is your whole life. It's stupid that we have to work our whole lives. I'm very anti-work. But that's ridiculous. Bear routine is bad for that. Wrong for that.
Yeah.
Bear routine. Fucking bear routine.
But it is bad. I'm not, no disrespect to fast food workers, retail workers, any workers who get a lot of crap from customers. Actually, I have huge respect for you for even if you even stayed as long as you could without quitting the first week, without quitting the first bad interaction you had with someone.
I saw a post that was like, fast food and retail workers, or just workers in general, should be able to hit at least one customer a year. And I think that we should lower that to a month.
Oh,
A month.
You should be able to hit one customer a month, and it, like not just like any customer. Like if it's the end of the month and you haven't had a bad customer, you don't need to hit anybody. Just run up some random kid.
when you start
Famously
racking
kid.
up the hits.
Yeah, you get like a for every 10 hits you get a free drink,
Free drink?
like a punch card.
You get rewards.
That'll get people to start working there more.
Exactly. And you get employee rates up, and they're all happy.
And customers are behaving now.
Because they get
So true.
They get mollywopped, but they fucking bonk. I said I want a Coca-Cola. I said I want you out my fucking store.
No, dude. The amount of times that I've cried at working in retail is too much. I also there was one time I had to move like shelving fixtures, which I'd done before, but there was this one time that I had to like put it up a little bit higher, and my coworker had like walked away to go do something. Sorry, my team member went to walk away to go do something, and I was like, I'll just put it up, and it came down and like hit me on the forehead and like gashed my forehead. And I just kind of slowly started walking back to the break room, and they like came back with a manager and saw me, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit down." Like, I had to call HR about it.
Just
and
have a big gash on my forehead.
yeah, I mean, I was fine. I was like sitting there crying. I'm like, I'm okay. I just can't stop crying. I'm sorry.
And they're like, "Oh, sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Can you go back to work though?
No.
We need you. We really need you on the floor."
Some people, dude.
Truly.
You're sitting in that aisle like that one fish from SpongeBob who breaks his bones every single day, and they're like, you need to devote your whole life to this job, and you're like, I break my arms every morning and my legs every afternoon.
Oh, and the amount of like, we had to talk to people about signing up for the rewards program and credit cards and everything, and they made like a quota for you, which no other clothing store that I know of is this freaking up your butt about it. And you had to ask like 15 people in your shift, or I don't know if it's in the shift or in the hour. I think it's in the shift, but like to sign up for the rewards, you have to ask like 3 people to sign up for the credit card. And it's like, first of all, the majority of the people here aren't going to want to do it. And so I'm just bothering them. And I already am anxious about talking to them, so I don't want to.
And that's probably making them like irritated in some way. Like, why are you asking me this?
There was legit.
Like, I just want to leave.
There was one time that someone came in the store and I asked them like, hey, do you need help with anything? And they said no. And then they like walked past to a different aisle. And then I saw them like leave the store kind of like angry. And I was like, what's going on? And then one of my managers came over and like, do you know what happened? Like, all I did was ask them if they needed help. And they were kind of like, you're the second person who asked me. And I was like, dang, okay. I guess we shouldn't talk to people.
He said, damn, bitch, I said I'm just looking.
Legit, I don't want people to come to me while I'm looking for stuff. If I need help, I'll come ask you.
Yeah, but also, it's their job. You can't get mad at that.
True. But like, yeah.
I mean, I get it's kind of obnoxious being like, it's sort of pestering, you know?
Well, also, if there's like 8 different people coming up to you because you're the one of the 2 people shopping in the store asking you that, then yeah.
Not communicating who has talked to who, and then especially if there's just 2 people and 8 of you need to meet a certain point in that hour or in that shift, then of course you're gonna have that many people going up to that one person. I just wouldn't do it.
Oh,
I just won't ask people. I did that at the fast food place. Bear Routine. I did that at Bear Routine. I was supposed to ask people certain stuff like donations, but I didn't do that. I hardly did that. I only did that when management was near. I did not care.
honestly, same. When I finally learned how to use the registers. Also, apparently, there's this extra deal cash stuff that you give out, and every time I guess I gave them too much, more than I was supposed to, and so then later on I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what, it's fine. They're getting deals. I'm not devoted to this.
Were they donating to the Bears?
To the Bears? No, they were just donating money to some organization. Themselves, the Bears themselves. No, that's a real one though. You're a real one for doing that.
Honestly, no, you too. Didn't you give people extra food sometimes?
It was one of those kind of those the burrito making place.
Place
kind of like that sandwich making place and those burrito making place where it's because you're supposed to serve people a certain amount, but I always just gave people extra whenever no one's looking, because it's they won't take this off my paycheck. This won't matter to me personally. They would just probably tell me not to do that, and I'd be like, okay, and just do it again, and it would just repeat over and over again.
They start breaking fingers. You put an extra piece of food and they're like, get in the back, you're losing an arm.
What happened to the fingers?
We upgraded.
Wait, but did you ever give someone less food if you didn't like them?
Yes, I always did.
So quick.
I always gave them less than what is recommended if they're just rude. And I think a lot of people did in my work too.
Now you know. Don't be rude to
You know what's
fast food.
what's
people.
also an annoying thing is when a coworker is trying to act like they have more power than you or think they're a manager. It's always those people who are working up to be some sort of management that they're always just on you about the littlest things. And I had this one person I worked with that was always on me when I gave someone too much food, and it's like, dude, just let this slide, you know? We already throw this food out at the end of the day. It's perfectly good food that we throw out in the trash can. So much of it too.
I low-key used to be like that, but also there was things that people would do wrong that I would have to fix later that I didn't want to fix. But also, yeah, I feel like if you're not in a position of authority, if you're not getting paid to correct people, is it worth it?
Also, your two jobs were different. Giving people extra food when you just throw it away at the end of the day, this might get too political. Just kidding. I just feel like food companies that just throw away extra food at the end of the day could give those to I doubt their employees want to eat it, but if their employees were needed the extra food, or just
I'll take it.
donate any of it. I'm sure it's not the best food, because by the end of the day it's sure, especially
it's the soggy one.
yeah, but I feel like someone would eat it regardless if they wanted it,
Get a soggy egg roll,
The soggy stale food.
some soggy bread.
Honestly, there actually has been some people I worked with, even myself, that's dude, I'll just take the food. You don't even throw it out, I'll just take it back home with me.
Exactly.
And there's even some parents who work there that was oh, I could take some of the food for my kid. And it's dude, they should just take it for free if it's for their kid.
That would be me. I would want to take the food. Yeah, I work there. Dock it from my paycheck, whatever. But what is it? $6?
Dock it for your paycheck. Exactly. That's the point. That's the whole thing.
You're giving your life. You're giving your entire life to this company.
The company's losing money either way, taking it or throwing it.
Exactly. That's a really big point too. I feel like a lot of times people will be for companies, they'll be oh, well, we're losing food if we give it away. You're losing food anyway since you're gonna throw it away. It's gonna go somewhere. But
because you can take whatever food and give it to like a shelter at the end of the night or whatever, or else it'll just sit in trash cans.
Tip for everyone: go to the garbage next to fast food places when it's close to closing or it is closed, because most of the times they'll bring in a brand new garbage bag just to throw the food in.
Then you get a whole bag of food.
Then you have a whole bag of food.
Well, it's been fun. I gotta go. I know some places are closing soon.
Got places to be. Oh, there's a lot of times at retail, like clothing stores or something, they'll have like items that have like a tear or a stain on them. They'll just they'll mark all of them and then they'll put them in a bag and throw them out behind the. I will not say where I worked, but me and someone else that I worked with went to the garbage a couple times when we knew that there was clothes and we took it. Also, sometimes it's not affected. Sometimes it's just clothes that it's not in the system anymore and they can't like sell it, and so they just throw it away.
So make sure to check out your local New Marine store.
They do actually, sometimes they do donate stuff though.
Oh, that's nice.
They should donate everything. Not everything, but
the whole store.
The whole store. The shelves.
Donate the entire summer collection.
There was one time that I think that they donated like most of the clearance section.
Ooh.
It's very attractive of them.
Yeah, everything else.
Do you have any horror stories from working? Either your new job or your past job?
Oh, there was this one time when I worked my old job. I was walking around the aisles scanning, and I'm a people watcher. So when I was scanning, I just would watch everyone kind of, but I also had my earbuds in and kind of do my own thing. I was like dissociating for half of it. There's this guy, and a lot of people made jokes about me following them, right? So he's like, why the fuck are you following me? I was like, haha, what? And then he's like, no, I'm serious, motherfucker. Why are you following me? I'm like, I haven't even seen you once in the store, sir. I'm just going down my aisles. I have not seen him one time in the store. Like, I did not realize that person existed in the store. I'm like, I don't even work for the store. Why would I give a shit anyway? Even if you were stealing, I have a list of shit. Grab me something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you're doing.
You don't work there.
I don't work for that store. I will not turn you in. And then I walked out of the store, and like when I was done, and he was sitting in his car, like waiting for me, I think. Like he was like, I like walked out and he was like just staring me down as I walked past. I'm like, hi. Like, oh, no, that's me. I'm not saying he was or wasn't stealing. I don't give a shit. But if he was, that is for them to deal with if and when they find out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And always steal from big business. Never steal from local mom and pop shops.
Legit. I don't know if I have any horror stories, but I have times when people are really mean to me.
I pictured you sitting in the aisle and some random person just walks up to you and just kicks you over.
What?
And they just walk away.
It's just like unreasonable customers that like I was either following policy or like I just was doing all I could do and they were just a-holes. But then also, I guess you could say when I would babysit, I was legit scared for a long time to literally not have every child, if there was multiple kids, in the same room. Anxiety.
How many kids were they like all the same family?
Yeah. No, yeah, if I was babysitting, they were all the same family.
What was the age range of these kids?
Like 3 to 9.
Ugh. The worst years of someone's life.
Oh my gosh, this little kid, he was so cute and he was adorable most of the time. But then he would just turn into a little demon sometimes. Be like, I hate everyone. And then like his mom would come home after he's been crying for her for hours and he's like, you're mean. And just be like so bothered that she's back.
See, I couldn't babysit because
Yeet the child.
I would yeet a kid. I would chase them.
You would chase them?
No, I'm just kidding. I would never hit a kid. So we talked about bad customers. Have y'all had workplace drama with coworkers or management?
Mm-hmm.
I have, but not me personally. I was not involved in this drama. There's this one couple that worked at the same place, in the fast food place, and I think there was like
It was a couple.
yeah, it was a couple working there at the same place.
That's a red flag already.
And I think there's maybe some abuse going on in the relationship. And I mean, he's crazy. He actually went in on his day off just to confront another worker that was there. They didn't even fire anything. He just like went up to him and just like started basically yelling at him about something. The other dude was completely chill. He was just looking at him. I mean, he was bigger, like a lot bigger than him too, height and physically
The one
wise.
yelling or the one who was chill?
The one who was chill.
Okay.
And small dog syndrome.
Yep.
But I don't know. Later, they ended up breaking up, and they were not a good couple at all. I mean, there was one case. We were all talking about couples, like what we would get for our partner, and she went, and we were like, "Oh, what are you gonna get for your boyfriend?" And she just said, "Drugs." Like, what is your boyfriend like? Drugs. And it's like, what? I tried so hard not to laugh because no one else laughed. I was like, I don't
She
think
knows what he likes, though.
I don't think this is appropriate time.
Yeah.
Just busted out cackling. Knee slapping.
I had to leave and laugh.
She said, well, probably drugs. You're like, I'm going to take my leave real quick. I'm going to break. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna take a little 15.
That whole 15 minutes, I'm crying, laughing. But after they broke up, it was like weird because she completely avoided him. And there's, I don't know if it was rumors because it wasn't confirmed by her, but there's rumors going on that like he beats her up. Like, yeah, like there was physical abuse going on in the relationship. I knew the kid too. I knew him since middle school. He was in my same middle school. He seemed cool, but around that time he was definitely not as I remembered him in middle school.
How did it affect the Bay Routine family?
The bear routine. Yeah. Well, it didn't affect me at all. But there was definitely some tension going on when she was working. There was tension. It was like, oh, is he going to come at all? He did do that about someone he had to confront. Like he had a problem with. He did show up on his day off just to confront him. So it was like, oh, is he going to come? Is he going to come or not?
Why are you gonna come somewhere on your day off? Don't you want some peace in your life?
Literally. Coming to work on their day off just to start some bullshit. Were they both still working there after they broke up?
Yeah, they just worked different days.
They never worked the same day.
No, they've never worked the same day after.
That's good.
So uncomfortable. Could you imagine? You're there like giving out extra food, and they just both of them just sitting there. It's like in anime when you're sitting there like uncomfortable, and they're just back there like both just angry, and you can like see their auras and shit, and it's just you're just like, here, have some extra food.
I'm ignoring the customer from the fight behind me by giving them extra food. Here, take it while everyone's distracted. But that was the I think the only drama, the worst drama that there was. I mean, also there was this one worker who screamed a lot. They will vent out just out in the public, and since it's like an overnight job and it was just us two, and it was kind of uncomfortable because some of it was about me, and it's not like they weren't doing anything because I ended up walking in while they were saying that, and they did shut up about it whole remainder of the shift.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't have like any specific workplace drama that's like with other people, but there was one manager I worked with. I didn't have a great history with her. There was times that we were very chill, but there was most of the time we weren't. But when I put in my 2 weeks, this is what I was going to talk about. I feel like she kept trying to catch me like slipping up somehow. I took a lunch break, and then when I got back, I like went to go to the spot where I was working. And then I was like, oh shoot, I got to go get a walkie. And so I went and got one, and then I went back to where I was supposed to be, and the person there was like, they've been asking for you. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, hey, can you come meet me over in this section? And I was like, okay, yeah. And they're like, so I noticed that like how long was your lunch break? Like you took extra time. I was like, no, I didn't. Like, you could check. Like, I set an alarm. It's literally like in my clock out like timesheets. Like, I didn't take too long of a break. And she was like, okay, it's fine then, whatever. And then there was like another time when she just kept checking up on me, like sending me to different spots in the store, like making sure that I was doing something. There was other stuff too. It was just too much.
Did you tell her that you were gonna quit in 2 weeks?
She knew about it, yeah.
She knew about it? Oh, I was gonna say.
No, I'm positive it was because of that. Like, she's trying to find something during those 2 weeks where I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if it's something you brought up to her, that's another reason. Don't bring up you're gonna quit to anyone besides management.
I highly recommend that, especially if there's someone who, like, you're not on good terms with.
Yeah, because they're gonna make sure they use those 2 weeks to benefit them.
Make your life hell.
Oh, also, okay, there's just another small thing real quick. I'm friends with someone who I used to work with. Both of us don't work with there anymore at that same place. And there was a few times that I had come into work late because it's early morning shifts. And so I got like an attendance like warning thing once. And apparently this one manager who I was just talking about, my friend had asked her a question about how many times you can come in late, basically because of another worker. She didn't mention who he was, but then this manager decided to bring up the fact that I had gotten a warning thing, and it's like, hold on. First of all, I didn't even talk to you about that. That's not even your business. Why are you talking to other people about that?
Workplace drama. Coworkers need to keep the fucking name out your mouth.
I guess that manager was the drama. Honestly, for most of the people there.
You know what? Just don't make friends at work.
She's like,
no, I made some good friends there, but not her.
She's like, am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Different side note to what I was on a side note to earlier. I wanted a new job for friends, like for coworker friends. So my ass got an overnight job where I work alone.
I don't know if this will relate to you. Well, yeah, it will relate to you because you have the same job as we did, or as I did.
Oh yeah, we all worked the same job.
Different locations though. No, but like an actual like horror story, like a real one, like paranormal one, is. I'm pretty sure you hear this because we talk about it often. Is we hear stuff at those late at night hours. Like I swear, I always hear the door open and close, and there's times where I see a dog looking towards where that sound had came from, and I always get so scared. Yeah, I always hear sounds, but it's never something serious.
I tried to so we're allowed our 30 minutes, you know. I tried to take my 30 minutes from like 1-ish to like 1:30, and then I just sort of like stay not in the back because until like 2, like that at that hour I'm like, I don't go back there unless I'm like in the kitchen, you know. I'm like, because when I go back there, that's when the sounds get loud. That's when I feel like I'm being watched. Dogs get creepy.
I have one. I figured out what it was after, but there was last night actually. I was working and I was like trying to finish up everything because I had not that many dogs, but like I had a lot of stuff to clean, and so then like suddenly I hear someone like calling out someone's name, and I'm like, hello, and like it's just quiet, and then I'm like, hello, and nothing happens, and then a few minutes later they call out again, and I'm like, who the heck is here? I was so confused, and I'm like, I just hope that they're not gonna be trying to come back here, because it sounded like someone was looking for their dog, like yelling. They're like, Chloe, and I'm like, what is happening? And so I was so confused, and then later I found out that there was just like overnight stalkers there, but it's just like, oh my gosh.
No, I've had that same experience where I went in one night. No one told me that there was gonna be an overnight stalker. So I'm in my 30 minutes. I usually watch like a YouTube video. So I'm sitting there watching a YouTube video, eating a snack, and I hear like some rustling like in the store. I'm like, weird. And I hear something be dropped. Like I hear things get dropped all the time. I'm like, nothing new. I hear a sneeze. I'm like, no, hold the fuck up. I was like, no, hold on. Who's out there sneezing? Who's out there sneezing from their schnoz? I was like,
we ain't blessing nobody tonight.
So, any embarrassing work stories, Casper?
And my fucking mics. I got about 1,300 of them. There was one night I was at my current job, and there is this one. I'll get to that in a second. I walk back there. The closers give me their little details. I'm good to go. They leave. There's a dog back there with no name tag, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're like. Nothing about you. You know, I'm very confused. But I was like, you probably have a feeding thing if you're supposed to be here, so I can just give you whatever food it says to give you, and I let the opener know. So I go in the back to start cleaning, and I plug my earbuds in. I leave one ear out or one ear off so I can hear the dogs, of course, but I have my music going pretty loud because they bark, and I'm singing, and I'm talking. I was in a mood that night, and I had like gotten so like one of the closers said something to me that kind of like irritated me a little bit more than I already was. So I was talking mad shit, right? Not really necessarily about anyone who worked there, but just in general. And I hear like a lot of barking up front. It was like a sudden just burst of barking. I didn't think anything of it, so I'm like, whatever. I walk back up to the kitchen after I'm done cleaning some of the rooms, and that dog is gone. I was like, oh, so either I imagined that dog or that dog wasn't there to begin with, or like whatever. The next week, I think, I walked in, and when I got there, I had to like pee. So I was like going to the bathroom, and the one person in my store that I am physically attracted to comes walking out of the room, because that dog was back there again with no name tag. Well, no, it had a name tag this time, but I think it was the same dog. Or I thought it was. They come walking out, and they're like, I'm halfway into the bathroom because I have to pee, and he's like, oh, hey, Casper. I'm like, hi? He's like, this is my dog. I'm like, cool. So then I was like, well, I can't look like I'm going to the bathroom now because I felt very uncomfortable. And then he just walked out. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a nice night. So I'm like, well, I took the trash out, but I took the trash out like way too early. So when I like washed my hands, I didn't have a trash bag at the trash can yet. So I'm like, stuff in my pocket and walked out. But then I pieced it together. I'm like, the one person in my store that I find attractive walked back there, heard me talking mad shit about everything and singing, and I'm not a singer. I couldn't find the key if it was sitting in front of me. So I'm gonna have to fake my death and move it to a different country.
You think he heard you?
Oh, absolutely, he heard me. Because ever since then, I don't think he's worked the same nights.
He asked specifically not to work the same nights as you do.
Literally, and I went in my new night because after you quit, I went in and I was talking to one person about getting a check, and she was like, "Oh yeah, let me talk to them." They're like, "Hey, so and so, Casper's here to get his check," but she said it in like a way that like, I didn't know he'd be working Wednesdays. I'm so sorry. That makes me uncomfortable. Do you guys have any embarrassing stories?
I was thinking of stories while you were saying that. I guess this is a little embarrassing. It's not bad, but like, I'll take my own like cleaning gloves to work because I don't want to use super thin latex gloves, and because every time I do, they break, and the gloves they have there are gross and stink. And so I take my own gloves, and when I take them off, I wash the gloves first, and then I wash my hands, and then I have like clothespins, and I'll like pin them onto a cart so they can dry. So they dry the outside and the inside, because I'm like, I don't want stinky gloves. And so one time I accidentally left them there, and I was like, hey, manager person, I left my gloves there. Could you please kindly put them and the clothespins into the Ziploc bag that's there? And they're like,
why
yeah.
you have gloves? We have gloves here.
Yeah, why'd you bring your own gloves?
Exactly. I was like, I felt so weird. But also it's like kind of funny because I remember talking to a different like leader there, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll like bring in like more latex gloves. And then I started bringing my own. But yeah.
You're like, fine, I'll do it myself. A little side note about our current job. We have this board of things that we need. It was like to the glove conversation, so we're going back to track a little bit. But I put, because they got gloves, right? 7 boxes of new gloves, right? They're all medium gloves. I have large hands, and I have nails. So my nails tend to tear holes in the gloves, or if I'm pulling them, they'll just tear. Because like you said, it was just flimsy latex gloves. So I was like can Casper have large gloves, please? And then the next night or the next whatever, I went in and they're like, and then two of my other coworkers, which I don't know my coworkers, as y'all know, because except for like closers or openers, because we don't talk to them really. Two of the coworkers like put and so and so and so and so, and then one of the managers I think put like for the price of your firstborn child's soul, you can get new gloves, and I added to it, I already own mine, will you take second? And someone said, joke's on you, I can't have kids. And another person said, kids don't have souls. And then the manager like tacked onto mine and said, that works.
That's amazing.
I thought it was really funny because I don't have like a rapport with coworkers really, because it's like they come in and I leave, or I come in, they leave, and that's it.
That's a great post thread.
It's only through the whiteboard you guys communicate.
It's only through the things we need. Maybe the real things we need with the friends. Maybe the
The things we needed were the friends along.
Maybe the things we need is friends.
the friends we made along the way.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about quitting? How do you feel? What's about quitting? Do you guys like quitting jobs, or do you guys just find it as more of a chore because you have to look for a new job? Like, are you more comfortable staying in the job you have now, or you rather look for a new one?
Well, I'm gonna answer your initial question for me. I didn't technically quit because I'm just transferring to a different position in my job. I'm transferring to like the restock position for early mornings. I'm really glad that I'm doing that, and I'm glad that it worked out because I would much rather do that. But with quitting a job is always scary for me. I mean, like, I've only quit one job so far, so and with that, I was like taking like a mental health break because I needed it. And I knew I had enough money to pay rent and everything until I could find another job, which just barely I could. But I think it's kind of scary, especially if you don't have something set up like to go to afterwards.
I feel like I'm not going to say that I ever quit a job, because I feel like my time with my old job was over. You know, like I feel like quit has a negative like connotation of like giving up. You know, I did not give up. That time is over. It's time to move on to something better.
My time was over for all three of my past jobs, and I moved over. I'm gonna put that on my resume now. I didn't quit. I was over it.
I moved on.
Maybe don't say over it. I was over that bullshit.
That's so true, though. I feel like with certain things like jobs, like I was not planning on moving up in that job. It was my starter job. I knew I was eventually going to get a different job. It felt like it was time. I didn't expect to be working there for 2 years, but I did. And I'd been talking about finding a different job for like half a year at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I mean, like if you are looking for a new job, I feel like it is best to find a like new job before you stop doing your old job, just so you have like you know that you're not like, don't start working both jobs. That's what I did. It was terrible. Unless you need to. But like if you can like have that, so you know for a fact you have something to go into, you know. I mean, like unless you had planned out like you did, like you were like, okay, well I'm good for this amount of time, so I can look for a new job this amount of time.
By the way, tip, someone recommended, if you're going to quit your job and you don't have another job set up, make sure that you have enough pay that you would have earned for 6 months so that you can live for 6 months without a job. That's what I did.
I definitely did not have that. I had enough money for 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, if you have like certain bills and stuff that you need to pay, then it's like you need to make sure you have enough to pay those bills and everything, and also like for food or whatever you need.
That's a lot, especially if they already had to pay for bills. It's going to be hard trying to save up money.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yeah.
Dude, my rent was also lower then, and so I also spent a lot more money, but like I had saved a lot more up.
So Casper, Casper and Florence, if there's any advice you give anyone right now looking for a job, what would it be?
Florence can go first as our guest.
Oh, thank you.
unless you need time to think on it.
Maybe a little bit.
I'd say my advice is really look into it. Really do your research on the company. Look on Glassdoor. Look on Indeed. Look on different websites of where you could look at reviews from past employees. Reddit. You could just make sure to do as much research as you can from other people who work there. Don't go based off what the company says, because obviously the company is going to put themselves in a good spotlight.
That's so true.
All the information can be found through past employees.
Yeah. I think that also this would have been advice I would have hated to hear, because it's difficult for me to figure out, but don't just go into something. I mean, unless you really need a job like soon, like it's urgent, try to find something that you know that you'd be good at. Like for me, I really like stocking jobs, because I'm like, okay, well, I have a certain thing, it goes in a certain place, I can figure that out, and it's kind of like a puzzle for me. So go into something that you like. Like if you really enjoy stuff like that, go into something with that. If you really enjoy like technology, go into something that's more like IT or something that would be I don't know, suited to you.
I have two things. One, not every job is permanent, and when that time with that job is up, that's okay.
Yes.
And then two, if you're not in a position where you need to be earning like a lot of money, and you're not earning a lot of money, or you're not working a lot of hours, never let anyone shame you for that, because you're still working, you're still getting money, you're still doing like what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like never let anyone tell you that that's not good enough. And if they do, pull out the Glock and start shooting.
Also, if you don't need to move out of your parents' house soon, don't take advantage of that.
Amen. Yeah, no matter what job you're in, no matter what you're doing for money, there's no judgment here. Get that bread. It's important.
Unless you're the president of the United States, we're always judging you.
We're trying to take your bread back.
Give me that bread. Give me that stimmy.
Oh.
Anyways, thank you so much for Florence for joining us today.
Thank you.
For work related.
You're not getting paid for this.
You know what? I could have.
We don't get paid for this.
We don't pay our editors.
Start a Patreon.
Patreon, maybe.
For just $5 a month, you can help us.
There's no Patreon. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.
As always,
Two Bros 5 Feet Apart podcast. And any last words?
And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And we'll see you next week. I think Mojo Jojo uses children, child labor.